Well, welcome back everybody to Motorsport Manager and the Haas playthrough in the Fire mod. And as promised then, we've got another episode just a couple of days after the last one to make up for the large gap between the other ones. The normal single-seater playthrough will be back probably tomorrow, but I just thought I would make up for lost time and get another episode out for you guys as soon as possible. So a couple of requests from last time. We want to check in on how the other teams are doing them, and in particular how their cars are coming along. So obviously we've got almost a 5-star rating across the board for Mercedes, but we do apparently have a better chassis. Williams just a little bit under, a couple of stars lost here and there. Red Bull pretty weak on their chassis. Shame you can't rotate these images when you want to. Be interesting to see if they've got the same liveries. I guess we'll wait till it comes all the way back around. So quite a few stars lost there. Force India, very good chassis, and it does look like the same liveries then, so it doesn't look like they change between seasons. Half-star lost on fuel efficiency for Force India. Very good chassis for Ferrari as well. Few stars lost here and there for Renault and Toro Rosso. Many missing. Helmut Marko, is he the chairman of both? No, so Massachusetts is I always struggle with that name. Massachusetts is, I always say shits, I'm sure it's not shits. And Marco at Toro Rosso, I'm not sure that's actually the case, whether that's a change or something that the mods put in. But anyway, McLaren missing a few stars, and the one that was requested then, Russian Time, missing quite a few stars. So this might begin to explain why this graph is not particularly accurate. Obviously chassis is not the raw speed of the car, but as we've discussed over the last couple of episodes, if you've been following the comments, that chassis is important because it makes it a better race car. So this might be broken or it might not, but I think we do by far have the best chassis on the grid. So I think that's what's really helping us out early on here. And of course we are second in the championship at the moment. Another interesting thing while we're on this kind of discussion, I was looking at sponsors as well. Mercedes with the worst sponsors on the grid, Ferrari with the 6th best, Russian Time with the 3rd best there. So it'd be interesting to see if that money develops into a good car, because presumably there is a lot of back end stuff where the team is simulating the same things we're doing. So if they're getting all that money, especially someone like McLaren and Russian Time, it's interesting that they're not moving up the standings quicker, especially McLaren, who've obviously had that money for quite a while. And the final thing, before we get on with today's episode then, was just seeing how Sauber were getting on. Fox requested. And yep, it's very similar to my single player playthrough. They are bottom of the championship. They've got Verline and Massa there. And this is interesting because I've been demoted to Formula 2 in a championship I'm playing through. And we started with the best car. So it's very interesting that Sauber are struggling so much. And I'm wondering if it's a bug with this mod, because in the one I'm playing, Haas got demoted, and they're about 8th or 9th in Formula 2 as well. So there's something going on that just means that the teams can't get on once they're demoted. So very interesting, that one. And we'll keep an eye on it, and of course we'll see how everybody else gets on, whoever gets demoted this season. Looking like Russian Time or McLaren at the moment. But let's get going then. Now, I did have this discussion. I think we will continue developing the car for the moment, but I think we're going to stop a lot earlier than I normally would. Because we're doing so well, obviously our engine and gearbox are mostly responsible for that, and the chassis. We'll continue making some small improvements, maybe to the suspension and the front wing. And then we'll probably stop, because we really need to start upgrading our HQ. And if we're going to be bringing on young drivers and bringing through Leclerc and Ferrucci, then we're going to need the buildings to ensure the drivers develop as quickly as possible. So while we're making a bunch of money, I think we can definitely get at least one upgrade done during the season in terms of the HQ. So I think we will look to do that in a couple of races time. We'll continue developing the car for the moment because it's still early days, and we want to push for the best result we can. Wow. K-Mag is ruthless. He wants us to get rid of Ferrucci. I'm sorry, my friend, but I'm just not going to make you that promise. It's interesting that he feels that kind of threat from him, though. Very interesting indeed. Right, sponsors. We have a new offer. They're all position based. I've noticed recently that these get mixed up in this mod as well. Obviously, these are supposed to be the race bonus, and these are supposed to be the fixed slots, but they're sometimes the other way around. Now, we don't have a performance-based sponsor at the moment. These are all performance-based, but they're only 2 and 3 stars. Obviously, we could take the easy money. We could take the 400,000 per race by going 12 or above. And it is the shortest offer available. 6 or above is possible with our current form, but maybe not in qualifying, and that cuts it in half. That's the only thing. I think we'll just take the 400,000, and I'm pretty sure we can achieve that in both qualifying and the race. So, doesn't change the income per race, and of course we'll get a bonus 400,000 if we achieve that. So, I'm fairly happy to go forward with that. Right, car repair is finished. So I think we can probably stop focusing solely on reliability, and we can look to improve performance a bit as well. I think we're improving the right things at the moment. Performance, I mean, these are pretty much maxed out, so we'll switch that to our new suspension. And we'll improve the front wing that we're struggling with so much as well. So continuing on from that, the other new suspension should be ready soon. I don't think we have any chance of getting that done by the race. Saying goodbye to Beijing bikes. He's now racing motorbikes. I wouldn't really recommend that as a team principal, but I guess if it increases your marketability, we'll go with it for now. Leclerc is jealous. What planet is he on? He has Adrian Newey. Hang on, is this the playthrough we've got Adrian Newey? It is. I always get confused between the 3. Yeah, I don't know what planet he's on there. He's got the best designer in Formula 1 history. And he's got a problem with him. Amazing. Right. Let's switch the engine over to these brakes and this rear wing and continue on. Our wind tunnel is nearly done then as well. As is that suspension now. So that's both suspensions done. I'll switch the reliability over to that. So it's not going to be ready for this race, but it should be ready for the race after that. Front wing we're really struggling with, so we will get one of those built ASAP. Build a couple of those. So just try and get these minimums up of all our weak parts. It's obviously this is where we need to concentrate. Our engine and gearbox. Our gearbox especially is one of the best on the paddock. Everything else is what we're trailing in. So it's really the engine and gearbox that's dragging us up at the moment. And I think that's everything. Our wind tunnel is complete then. Let's just remind ourselves of what that's going to give us. Front wing, yes. So that's something we desperately need to improve. As I say, I think new buildings is what we need to be going for during the season. I wonder if we just get that tool centre out of the way. 50,000 per race though, it takes so long to get that money back. Not right now. But definitely all 4 of these we're going to need at some point. Maybe we could go for handling and simulator during the season and then get these 2 next season. Which will leave us a little bit of money to spend on our car, because we still need to improve it. That chassis is not going to keep us ahead forever, I'm sure. Right, new vote to remove Beijing. Don't care. So we will abstain and gain a vote for later. Anyway, everybody was strongly against. And say I don't really mind. Just tell us which tracks we're racing at and we'll turn up. I'm not interested in wasting votes on stuff like that. Right, our new sponsor then, Citrix. Don't know what they make, but I'm sure someone could tell me. So we should easily be able to achieve that target in both qualifying and the race. That's the problem with the other sponsors. I feel we'll struggle to get 6th in the race, so we would probably be racing for half the money each time, so we may as well take the 400,000 almost a certainty. Extra set of softs, I think. Yeah, we were using that suspension last time. The other suspension's not quite ready, so it'll be the same cars as last time. And as always then, I shall get practice underway and be back with you guys for qualifying. Okay, into qualifying then. Pretty good practice session. Once again, we're struggling a little bit because of Leclerc's feedback skill. Hopefully that will start increasing once. I think we've got the building built now. I think we did that last season, so he should start to improve that, hopefully. But it means that we can only max out the race trim, and we managed to get level 1 for qualifying and soft tyres. So, you know, we're getting there, but it is hurting us, especially in qualifying. But as long as we got those race bonuses, and both drivers seem to be doing pretty well in qualifying recently, so it's not hurting us all that much. It just needs to be something we sort out if we're going to start challenging for titles later on in this Let's Play. I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's get into qualifying, shall we? It's probably a good idea. Stop this mindless ramble. Okay, opening times don't look brilliant, but again, we've struggled in qualifying consistently. What I mean by our drivers doing well is that, you know, considering where the game says our car is, and considering the bonuses to our chassis are only going to really show themselves in the race, then to qualify anywhere near the top 10 is probably a good achievement. But 13th and 15th is a little bit below par from where we've been the last couple of races. So we'll need to see a little improvement in the final runs, hopefully. So, as per usual, we'll wait as late as we can. Magnussen, well, yet again, there's almost nothing between the two drivers. Just 500ths of a second between the pair of them. This time, that's going to be close. Oh dear, I think I've mucked this up. Shouldn't have put it on times 12. I didn't know I'd put it on times 12. Magnussen's not going to get round. That's going to annoy people. I apologise for that. Yeah, Leclerc should get round just. Even he's going to struggle, and I don't think he's actually going to make it. Well, at least it's even, hey? That's going to leave us with a terrible qualifying position. Leaves us 14th and 15th. I'm sure there was another couple of attempts in the car at least with the improved grip. But I've only myself to blame there, really. But hopefully we can have a good race from there. It's not as if we've had a terrible season so far. It's been bloody magnificent. So I think we can take one little knock in qualifying, and I'm sure we can recover from here. It's not all bad, but still. That's a bad mistake from me. And it means we didn't get that target after all. Oh dear. Oh well, moving on. At least we've got a nice base sponsor that we're still going to get 2.5 million a race, so it's not a problem that we miss out on 200,000. And I'm sure, hopefully, we will get 12 or above in the race at least. Let's hope. Right, what do we want to start on? Obviously, 38 laps. We definitely can't one-stop this. 2-stop on the mediums with maybe one set of hards should be okay. So we'll start both cars on the mediums, I think. And once again, we'll take quite a bit of fuel. We'll take a couple of laps of fuel out that we'll save throughout. I was wondering if we maybe try different strategies with both cars, but I don't think so. Right, well, let's just see how we get on, shall we? I mean, everything's gone absolutely according to plan so far this season, really exceeding that, so I'm sure we can get this back and have a good race. If we can get to the top of those medium tyre runners and get in amongst Stroll, Hulkenberg, Gasly and the like, then hopefully we can have a good race from there. Once again, we just need to... Big lock-up, I presume, for Ocon. Has lost almost 40% of his tyre life very early on there. So obviously some problems for the Force India driver into turn 1. Right, we'll go on to neutral and high. Our engine and gearbox is very reliable at this point, so it's kind of my new tactic, I think, with using the harvest mode to just keep pushing constantly in terms of the fuel, because the engine and gearbox can generally take it, especially with Magnussen's mechanic trait, meaning that he has no red zone. We should be more than okay to push for the whole race. So it's looking pretty cool. We are in Russia, and we do experience some pretty chilly conditions here. 20 degrees is pretty warm for here, actually, to be fair. But the tyres are struggling a little bit in terms of temperature, so maybe we'll go on to push for the next couple of laps. Magnussen trying to get past Ocon now, and this is a move he really needs to make done as quickly as possible. This is... oh, shit the bed. Let's go back to medium. This is me getting confused between championships again. I've been playing this mod so much in my spare time, I forgot we don't have a harvest mode, you idiot, Jay. We don't have it in this version of this year's rules. So we can't push. We're going to have to regain that fuel back. That's idiotic. Okay. Right, we're well and truly up against it now then. We should recover that in 34 laps, but we're not going to be able to push. But it should make us a little bit lighter early on. Right, Magnussen needs to get past Ocon. So I think we'll try it on this next straight here. Let's see what he can do. Gets himself past. Right, because Ocon's really struggling on those tyres and we don't want to get too disconnected with the main group. Leclerc coming under quite a bit of pressure, so let's take him out of that pressure down the main straight with that boost. Is it going to be enough to get him past Gasly as well? It is. So he's now up to 13th. Magnussen is fighting Van Dorn, tried to make a move into turn 1 there and didn't quite pay off. Let's change this camera view a little bit so we see a bit more. Once again, a McLaren is not a car we want to be stuck behind. I think we're doing okay for temperatures now, so we can go back to neutral. So quite a few of those soft tyre runners coming in early, those that are struggling with tyre wear. And I think because we had to push on these medium tyres, we maybe didn't get the distance we needed out of them. So maybe hard tyres for the other stints might be the best way to go. But couple of cars pitting there. So it's our has been overtaken by Van Dorn. It's our that we're stuck behind now. So once again we need to try and look for a way past if we can with Magnussen. But we're where we need to be. We're a little bit further back from Stroll, Hulkenberg and Van Dorn. Our tyre wear doesn't look all that much better today, so I think we might make an early stop. So Magnussen is ahead on track, so he gets the first call. 30 laps to go. We might try and one stop it on the hards if we can look after them a bit better than we did the mediums. We may as well try. If they don't go the distance, then we'll have to make maybe 2 more stops. And go on to the soft tyres both times. Might be the backup plan. But this is those horrible conditions where it's difficult to keep the temperature in the tyres, and if you push to put the temperature into the tyres, then you just destroy them even quicker. There's a mistake on the front right. 3.7 seconds lost. That's the first little issue we've seen from the auto manage that we've got on. But hopefully it shouldn't be too much of a problem. We are recovering that fuel nicely, so we should be able to push for the last few laps, but I'm still a little bit annoyed that we've missed that, really, because I would have preferred to fuel up and push for the entirety of the race. Now, if we're going to try Magnussen on the 2 stop with one more stop after this, maybe we do the opposite with Leclerc and we nail him in for a 3 stop. So let's put him on the mediums again for the first stop, and then if we can manage it, the soft tyres might be the better option for the final 2 stints, purely because they should be able to retain the tyre temperature a bit better. So that's definitely an option there. Leclerc is going to come out just ahead of Magnussen. We'll use that boost just to get him onto the back of Kielwitz and Gasly, and he's going to need to try and make a move early on these two if he can. Doesn't want to be held up here. He's got a bunch of guys on the hard tyres ahead, and if he's going to have to do one more stop, he's going to have to get a move on. If he gets stuck behind traffic, that's not going to be good for our afternoon. So let's just settle down now. A few more cars still to stop, but it's not looking brilliant at the moment. It depends if we can get our tyre life working this time round. Leclerc makes a double move then on Gasly and Kielwitz and makes that move stick. I'm just going to use a little bit of boost to make sure he's free of them and he doesn't get them moving back on. He's back behind Van Dorn though. Oh, but he just swoops down the inside. And these medium tyres are working nicely for Leclerc then. Magnussen, on the other hand, struggling to make any progress on the hard tyres. And I think this track is really starting to show our car's weaknesses once again. So, first 2 races could very well have been reliability based and AI decision based. We might start to see our car struggling a bit more here. Leclerc's doing what he needs to do. He needs to get a move on because almost everybody, it looks like, is going to try and do one less stop by staying on the hard tyres. So Leclerc really needs to get the hammer down and get down the road if he can. He's come back out ahead of Kvyat, which is helpful as well. He's got Ocon ahead, who obviously had to make a very early stop after destroying his soft tyres. So that'll be the next target that we need to clear quickly. But he's done what he needs to do. He's ahead of the cars he needs to be. And he might struggle for the rest of the stint because the medium tyres will start wearing down a bit quicker than the hards. I'm trying to gauge Magnussen's tyre wear to see if we should start pushing. I think we'll try the opposite this time. I think we'll keep him on neutral and just try and make sure, let's defend with Leclerc down here. We don't want Gasly back ahead. Magnussen will use that down the back straight. See if we can get him past Alonso, but he's really struggling on pace. It's enough to get him onto the back of him, but he hasn't got the pace in that car to get past. In fact, yeah, we used the boost over the line, so he's basically matching everybody around him. So that would confirm to me that our car is struggling and starting to show its weaknesses. Right, I think we're going to have to push on those hard tyres just because we're losing too much time with Magnussen, and I think we're losing probably more tyre wear than we would be if they were by underheating them rather than being on neutral than we do by pushing. That made sense in my head. Right, so Leclerc is starting to pull away from Kvyat, although Kvyat's just used a little boost to catch back up. Raikkonen's just made a second stop ahead, and we are catching our just. So we need to time these next couple of stops correctly. There's 20 laps to go. We know these medium tyres can do 10 laps. I think we're going to go aggressive in doing 2 stops. I'm going to try the soft tyres on the next stint and see if we can go aggressive on them. See if they'll work a little bit better in these temperatures. If we can make them last 10 laps, then we can do 2 stints on the softs. And by getting in early, we get out of this traffic and try and undercut some people. So I think that's a good plan with that. Magnussen looks okay for doing one more stop. The problem I have is he doesn't have the pace to make this work. I'm wondering if we switch to the same strategy with Magnussen. Wonder if we bring him in and do... See, he's not happy with his tyre life at all this time round. We've got plenty of life left in those hard tyres, but I just don't see him making progress. We need more speed. So let's go on to the mediums with him, as he seems to be struggling a bit more with tyre life. And try and play a similar ploy to Leclerc. And try and undercut the cars around him. He's going to have a bit more work to do. Purely because he's already a bit further down the order because he went on to the hard tyres. But I think we can rescue some positions here and see if we can push these guys up into the top 10 by having a very aggressive final stint. I think it's all we can do. And we're going to have hopefully we're hopefully going to be able to push in terms of the fuel for at least the last stint. So stay tuned. We'll try and get this race back in our favour towards the end of it. Crucially, Leclerc is just behind Ocon. He really needed that move to pay off. He's stuck in traffic again now. We'll see what kind of pace he's got compared to Ocon and Giosso ahead. He should be quicker still at this stage, I would hope. Oh, he's made... Oh! Shows. Oh, that's a black mark, my friend. I say we ignore. I say we stay out with Magnussen. We could potentially take the hard tyres to the end, but I think we stay aggressive on this one and see if we pick up any places. He only picks up one. That's not brilliant. Right, let's take this opportunity to save fuel and make sure we get these tyre temperatures back under control. I don't think too many people will be able to... Everyone's putting the mediums on. They're not going to be able to go to the end on the mediums. So I don't think that's too much of a problem. I can't believe Leclerc crashed out. That's his first real black mark in quite a few races. And it's all on Magnussen now then. He's got to do the business. We've got to try and find a way to get us some points. Right, we got some fuel. We've saved a couple of laps in terms of the tyres. So I think we can go pretty aggressive as we restart and see if we can make up some early places. It's not looking great though. That safety car really has neutralised our strategy. People using the boost around the final corner there. I think down the main straight is the best place to use it. Just picks an inside line. Come on, K-Mag. Beautiful. Oh, he's taken the lot. Come on, son. Keep 14th. Good lad. Right, get after the cars ahead. This is it, Magnussen fans. This is the race he really needs to prove himself. He's managed to do the sort of basic race driver thing of not crashing out. Charles. He's on fading tyres, but that means we can probably bring him in a bit early compared to everybody else and go aggressive on the soft tyres for the final stint and hopefully undercut some people. But he needs to make up some places early here. We need him to just get alongside Van Dorn and we can use this boost to make sure the move sticks. These McLarens are definitely on a par with us today. Is that enough to get him past Van Dorn? He can't pick a way through. Who's this coming through? It's Alonso and Kielwitz battling behind. Who's Kielwitz racing for? Renault. Okay. As I say, we'll try and undercut some of these people if we can. Gasly and Van Dorn ahead, battling hard. But as I say, it didn't really work for our strategy because we already had pretty heavy wear on our tyres. Perez, Raikkonen and Hulkenberg heading for the pits that time around them. We just need to decide now if we hang on for a couple more laps and go for the soft tyres, or whether we try and undercut these people and go for the mediums. how many laps we've been on them? 8. He really is struggling for tyre wear this time. So we've got to give it at least another couple of laps if we want to go on to softs, or we go early and go on to the mediums. I think everybody else is going to go late and go on to the soft tyres. So I think that means we should go early and go on to the mediums. And go aggressive. Gearbox showing signs of wear, but that's not too much of a problem. Should be able to deal with that. We haven't got too much fuel to use, but we can always turn it down. We really need to try and undercut these guys and get ourselves into the points when the pit stops shake out. So in he comes. Hopefully he doesn't come back out in too much traffic. Those 3 are going to pass, but Raikkonen and Hülkenberg were quite a way ahead of us in the first place. Chargers rebooted them. And let's get that used. This needs to be a very aggressive couple of laps from Magnussen. He needs to lap a second or 2 quicker than those around him if he wants some points. Nobody really coming in just yet. So that confirms to me that they're going to wait a bit longer and go onto the soft tyres. So there is a chance. As long as he puts the laps in now. He's only 3 or 4 seconds behind Ricciardo, which is interesting. So we really want to get ahead of Van Dorn. That's been the cork in the bottle the entire race. Right, they're coming in this time round. Who's pitting? Auer and Kielwitz. We get past Kielwitz. Auer is quite a way ahead of us. But we are a couple of seconds ahead of Kielwitz. So we might be on target to get ahead of Van Dorn here. If we can get ahead of Van Dorn, Gasly, Ocon, then we stand a chance of points. Let's see. Whole host of cars in the pits this time round. As he comes down the pit straight then. Come on, K-Mag. He's ahead of Van Dorn. That's what we needed. I don't think we've got anybody else to stop, so this is us. Vettel and Verstappen making late third stops. Now the thing is, Raikkonen, Stroll and Hülkenberg are all on 2 stops. Van Dorn's just got straight back past us on those soft tyres. We've got no pace. Let's go back down to neutral, try and cool these tyres down. But the undercut has not worked well enough because we don't have the pace. We're not quick enough today. And that's been a real worry for our car. And we talked about halting development. I don't know that we can do that. Because this has been a real wake-up call that some of these graphs might be right. We are struggling. I think Leclerc could have got some points today. But it wasn't to be. With him crashing out. Kielwitz gets past there. We're going to get passed by quite a few people before the finish, I think. We just don't have the tyre life left. That strategy would have worked if we'd had some pace in the car. I don't think Van Dorn was a cork in the bottle. I think we just did not have the pace to get forward. And we're being completely outclassed by the Force Indias, the Renaults, and even the McLarens today. The McLarens were very quick. Alonso's third. Good grief. They've worked that safety car brilliantly, and I think that was the time to come in and get that free tyre stop. I think that's hurt us as well. I think maybe if we'd switched and put the hard tyres on at that point, or maybe stuck with our original strategy, I think changing halfway through hurt us as well. I am of course saying all this because we have 1.5 laps to go, and there's no miracles that are going to happen today. We have been truly outclassed, outpaced, and we need a real rethink. There's no need to make any drastic changes because we have some great points in the championship, and it could be circuit specific. Let's not forget that. It might just not suit us. and we might have got the strategy a little bit wrong. Everybody really struggling with tyre life up ahead. But they just about find the checkered flag. Alonso in the end was passed by Perez and Raikkonen then. But that's some decent points from McLaren. Lewis Hamilton takes the win from Bottas. Mercedes 1-2. Perez, Raikkonen and Alonso. A very unlikely third, fourth and fifth. And yeah, wake up call. Definitely. Shame for Leclerc. I think he could have potentially threatened into the top 10, that strategy he was on. Unfortunately, obviously, him crashing out sort of put an end to that. But he was looking after his tyres better as well. Magnussen just not happy with his tyre life to date, and that hurt him as well. But we'll still take that. We're third and fourth. We're second only to Mercedes. And we're still a good 26 points ahead of Williams. Ferrari are recovering. They're getting there. There's a good... there's a solid haul of points from Vettel and Raikkonen that time round. It's still not the results they'll be hoping. But Red Bull and Ferrari still struggling. Means we need to try and get some points in the next couple of races if we can, if we want any chance of beating them. But I think Williams and Force India are going to be the two we'll be fighting. Renault and McLaren are recovering, but I still think fourth or fifth is still possible. I would expect Ferrari and Red Bull to get second and third eventually, but I feel we can stay ahead of maybe one or both of Williams or Force India if we get our act together. Right, that's going to be it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Say the normal singles teams will be back tomorrow. I'll try and get another episode of this out towards the end of the week, probably Friday. Don't hold me to it. We'll see. Keep your help and advice coming. Let me know if you think that this was the real pace of our car, like I do. I think that is the more likely than it being circuit specific. Obviously, we got the strategy terribly wrong. We mucked up in qualifying. It was a bit of a messy weekend all round. But at the end of the day, I think we could be allowed one of them where we are in the championship. I'll take that. Did Sauber improve this time round? Oh, Verline took third. Massa took ninth. So Sauber improved to 7th then. But that's not what they would be expecting. Especially with those two drivers. You do wonder what Massa is doing. Messing around with Sauber in Formula 2. But there you go. But that'll be it for today then. If you did enjoy the episode, don't hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, you can subscribe and take a look at some of the other Motorsport Manager videos that are on the channel. And as always, everybody, thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you again next time.